So on his way out of office, Joe Biden is once again, just as Democrats do, I don't know what their obsession is with this, but Democrats have a habit. On their way out of office, Joe Biden did this, is doing this now. Barack Obama, of course, did this pretty famously when he left office in 2016. On their way out, they just take a backhanded slap at Israel. Maybe it's to please the progressive base. I have to assume that's what it is, considering Bernie Sanders is calling for a full-on arms embargo against the state of Israel as Israel is within sniffing distance of full-on defeating Hamas and full-on defeating Hezbollah in Lebanon. Well, now, apparently, the UN Security Council is slated to vote on an alleged anti-Israel resolution published by Algeria to impose an end on the Jewish state's war of self-defense against Hamas. And now the Biden administration has gone silent about how it's going to vote. This is according to Fox News. The irony of the notoriously anti-Israel Algeria devising the resolution recalls the witty line of the late Israeli ambassador to the UN, Abba Eban, who said, quote, if Algeria introduced a UN resolution declaring the earth was flat and Israel had flattened it, it would pass by a vote of 164-13 with 26 abstentions. Well, that's right. So Senator Ted Cruz says this resolution is just one of several assaults on Israel being planned at the UN, meant to preemptively and permanently undermine the incoming Trump administration and Republican Congress. Apparently, Fox News Digital reported last week that UN experts believe Biden's administration might seek to replicate Obama's parting shot at Israel. A U.S. State Department spokesperson told Fox News Digital, quote, we don't have a comment to offer on allegedly leaked information, nor do we preview our actions at the Security Council. So again, the pending draft resolution, it's a little bit unclear what exactly that looks like, but apparently it is going to call for a unilateral end to the war in Gaza, rip Israel on a humanitarian basis, and basically make no demands that are in any way enforceable with regard to the release of hostages. Well, the backlash is here and it's coming. It is coming fast. And it should come. Again, Democrats right now are completely split on this issue. Some Democrats like Bernie Sanders, who hates Israel and is, again, about as Jewish as a ham sandwich, they continue to rip on Israel at every available opportunity. Even the New York Times is noticing the gap inside the Democratic Party. Quote, Democrats whose support for Israel has been strained by the wars in Gaza and Lebanon appear headed for a series of tests in the coming weeks over continuing to back Israel's right-wing government and the attendant debate over anti-Semitism and the anti-Israel left. Again, it's hilarious that every time the New York Times or any other publication talks about the Israeli government and Gaza and Lebanon, they talk about Israel's right-wing government. Let me be clear about this. There is absolute unanimity across the aisle in Israel on the reality that Hamas has to be defeated, the hostages have to be returned, and Lebanon has to be made a non-threatening presence on Israel's northern border. That is not an area of controversy in Israel. It isn't. People in the center, people on the left agree with that. In fact, there are some people in the center and left who want to go more aggressively in Lebanon than the current government is going. Nonetheless, Democrats, because again, they are tied, they're wedded to this pro-Hamas base, they can't let go of it. According to the New York Times, Senator Chuck Schumer is likely to test the unity of the Democratic Party and American Jews who have long called it their political home. He plans to attach to a bill legislation to define anti-Semitism formally with language that includes phrases more about opposition to Israel than about hatred of Judaism. Well, he's doing that, obviously, much too late. Not just that. Of course, you see that these UN resolutions are going to be dividing the Democratic Party as well. Well, all of that is going to come to a crashing halt as soon as Republicans take office. The incoming Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, he says, listen, as soon as this administration is gone, something different is on its way.
I am calling on Leader Schumer to bring a bill to the floor sanctioning the ICC, which the House has already passed on a bipartisan basis. And if he refuses to act, our Senate Republican majority next year will. We will stand with Israel and make this and other supportive legislation a top priority in the next Congress. So to our allies in Israel and to the Jewish people around the world, my message to you is this: reinforcements are on the way.
Again, he doesn't mean that in terms of military reinforcements. He just means that the Republican Senate is not going to be standing for the kind of trash being pushed by the outgoing Biden administration. The backlash is here. That is also true with regard to economics. And the Biden administration decided that the way to actually heal the American economy was to artificially boost the price of labor. That is why you saw Joe Biden on, for example, picket lines. It's why you saw Joe Biden intervene multiple times in labor disputes on behalf of unions that were paying the freight for his reelect campaign. It's why Joe Biden decided to blow trillions of dollars into an already overheated economy. Well, the American people were tired of that. They didn't like it very much. And the thing about Donald Trump is he is an economic pragmatist. He will do what works. Have you ever thought about what charities and causes the brands that you give your hard-earned money to support actually support? Well, Pure Talk My cell phone company supports veterans. They're leading the fight against woke corporations. Pure Talk is veteran-led. They actually put their money where their mouth is. They've alleviated $10 million in veteran debt. They donate tens of thousands of dollars every month to help prevent veteran suicide. They just donated $50,000 to Mike Rowe Works, providing scholarships to veterans learning trades after active duty. Pure Talk gives you the exact same coverage as the big carriers, America's most dependable 5G network for literally half the cost. Why are you still giving your money to Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile when there's a better option that actually supports our veterans? And when you switch your cell phone service to Pure Talk on a qualifying plan, you'll get 1 year free of Daily Wire Plus Insider. That means unlimited access to our incredible library of content. Am I racist? What is a woman? Mr. Bertram Run I'd Fight, plus uncensored ad-free daily shows and 1 year free of our new kids platform, Bentkey. The only way you can get this special offer is by going to puretalk.com/Shapiro or call and mention my name. Stop overpaying for your cell phone plan. Go to puretalk.com/Shapiro today. Switch to a qualifying plan. Get 1 year free of Daily Wire Plus Insider. So there's been all this talk, this loose talk about how Donald Trump is going to levy 20% tariffs across the board, no matter what. And let me be real about this. He ain't going to do that. What he's going to do is what he thinks is going to make the economy stronger. Because what Donald Trump understands, better than virtually anyone in American politics, is that the only solution is victory. What works is what works. If tariffs are going to damage the economy, he ain't going to do it. And if tariffs are going to help the economy, he's going to do it. If tariffs are leverage against foreign opposition, he will use them. And if they turn out to be useless, he will not use them, which is why he's currently considering a person named Kevin Warsh as a new candidate to serve as Treasury Secretary. According to Politico, Warsh, who's a leading contender for the job, once served in President George W. Bush's White House and then as the youngest Federal Reserve Board member in the central bank's history. He has spoken about the importance of free trade, the political independence of the Fed, and a strong dollar. Warsh has a few things in common with the president, however. Wall Street would love it if he got the job. His father-in-law, Ronald Lauder, is a decades-long friend of President Trump. He's already playing a key role within the transition. Even some of the most populist members of Trump's coalition are embracing him. One former Trump administration official said, quote, bringing people like Kevin in would demonstrate that the broad coalition of support Trump has assembled across the country is equally broad among those in the business world. Now, again, there is some blowback to some of the more tariff-friendly members of the Trump administration. However, the reality is that even if Donald Trump were to pick Warsh, that doesn't mean he's necessarily going to be pro-free trade. He's going to do what he feels he has to do. Remember, he used all this language about tariffs the first time around, and then he used it mainly as leverage to get America's geopolitical opponents over to the table. Meanwhile, Howard Lutnick, who had been considered as a possible Treasury Secretary, has been tapped as Commerce Secretary. Again, that's a pick that makes some sense. According to Politico, Trump put out a statement saying, quote, Lutnick will lead our tariff and trade agenda with additional responsibility for the Office of the United States Trade Representative. Senator Cynthia Lummis suggested, quote, he has been outrageously successful in life under the most adverse setback, on-your-heels circumstance that life can throw at you. And that's a reference to the fact that he rebuilt Cantor Fitzgerald after September 11th. That was the terrorist attack that killed 658 of the company's employees, including his own brother. Lummis wrote, quote, Howard rebuilt the business to the powerhouse it is again today and helped make the families who lost loved ones whole financially. So this is a guy who has both a heart and a drive to succeed. So again, Trump is putting together a very solid team here. The team is about breaking things and moving quickly. That is what it is about. Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.